I put the new 4Gs on the G. I trap into the bloody bottles on the knee. Cause all my niggas got it.
Hey, what's up guys? In this video today, I'm going to be showing you guys some of the best box fighting and editing tips to get an insane advantage, and most of these tricks are going to be pro level tricks that most of you have not heard about. So without further ado, let's get right into this video and let me show you guys how to dominate your opponents using crazy cool and rare tricks. So the first trick is going to be a substitute for the classic Mongrel wall take. Instead of placing a wall and then putting a ramp down and editing that ramp, we're going to be doing something that's much more consistent and a little bit easier to do. So basically, instead of placing a ramp and a wall, what we're going to be doing is taking the wall and then placing a pyramid from a right side window peak. What this does is it gives you cover from your opponent and makes it harder for them to shoot you, while also giving you the ability to place a pyramid inside of their box. Once you've placed this pyramid inside, you can do stuff like this, or you can do what I'm about to show you guys, which is a pro level trick that I actually found myself from watching some pros play. And this trick is really cool, really rare, and almost no one expects it to happen to them. So what you do is you basically go ahead and edit this pyramid once you've placed it, and then without really touching it or showing yourself, what you're going to do is you're going to hide yourself and you're going to edit it into a ramp just like this. Then you're going to edit that wall, and then you're going to run through reset and shoot. What this looks like fast paced is just like this, and there are also some other really cool variations, such as the one that I'm showing you guys right now. What's really interesting about doing this is it's really new, and it catches people off guard because they usually don't expect you to place a pyramid and use it in these ways. Now let's get into the next trick. The next trick is going to be the corner piece edit, and this is a much more well-known edit, but what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding an extra step to it that's going to make it a lot more unpredictable, a lot harder to shoot you from, and something that makes it a lot easier for you to get easy shots off without taking damage back and with ease. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking advantage of the right side corner peek and strafe movement that is going to make it much harder for the opponent to shoot us, while also giving us the advantage of getting an easy shot. So basically, to be able to do this, what you guys want to do is you want to master doing the right corner edit peek like this by practicing doing this edit just like I am now. You want to get quick at it, and instead of just jumping up and taking a shot from a good side, what you want to do is you want to learn to jump perfectly so that you angle your jump in a way where as soon as you edit that wall, you're going to be at the very peak of your jump, while also having a very short amount of time left before you get into cover. What this will do is this will maximize your chances of not getting hit back, and what else it will do is it'll also give you much better movement when you're in these box fight scenarios, because this trick of just standing in one spot, jumping up and shooting is something that pros and many good players are getting used to seeing, and they're getting a lot better at being able to react to it and shooting back. But if you add the extra jump strafe, it makes it a lot harder to get shot back, and it makes this classic move much more effective than before, while keeping it a viable move even in the newer seasons that are upcoming soon. Now, just in case you guys didn't know, the Mongrel Classic is also still a pretty viable move, and this is basically just placing a ramp and a wall as soon as you take the wall. And although this is an older move, it still works pretty well, and I still suggest using it if you are good at it and you already have the mechanics down. If you don't, however, don't be afraid to use what I'm teaching in this video, as the Mongrel Classic is a little bit harder to do, and the stuff I'm teaching are going to be easier, and they're going to be much more effective in the current seasons, as they're unheard of and used by many pro players. Now for the third trick, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking advantage of a phase trick that you can use when you're trying to pickaxe or take your opponent's floor or wall. Basically, what you guys want to do is you want to place a pyramid on top of their floor, and then you want to hit their floor once, and then you can go ahead and pickaxe it once more, and this will destroy their floor without them recognizing. Most of the time, they don't expect you to be able to pickaxe their floor, especially if you already have a pyramid on top of it, and this will give you a crazy cool advantage, as you'll be able to make double edits and get right into their box without them even recognizing that you're doing this. You can also mix this with some extra movements, such as running to the ramp on the side or pickaxing another wall or a floor, to make it much more tricky for them and make it harder for them to predict what you're doing. Now, this is already hard to predict because no one really expects you to be able to pickaxe your floor through a pyramid, as this trick is fairly rare and a little hard to do. But as you saw, I just messed up, and that's because I pickaxed towards the center. What you want is for that critical hit marker to be towards the edge, as that's the only way that you'll be able to actually pickaxe that floor through the pyramid. However, once you practice a little bit, you'll get used to knowing where to pickaxe so that you always get that critical marker to show up. And once that thing shows up, you'll know exactly where you have to hit, and you'll be able to do it consistently in box fights, which will easily throw off your opponents. One quick tip that I want to throw in here that isn't actually part of the 5 tricks in this video is that you guys can actually practice your editing and doing maneuvers like this before you hop into matches in creative. This will help you get your mechanics on point, and it will help you perform these moves that I'm teaching much better and much more effectively and consistently. So be sure to hop in creative and warm up and practice your edits before you actually hop into matches and start using these tricks. Now, since the beginning of Fortnite, you guys have seen this tunneling method, and although this is still very effective, it is not as viable right now due to the fact that tunneling requires a lot of materials, and it's hard to find an abundance of materials now that we have the 500 cap. And in end games where you really need materials, it's important to be able to tunnel. And here comes the brand new tunneling method that is used mainly by a player known as Unknown Army. This tunneling method is very effective, and other pros like Booga have started doing it. What's good about this is you conserve materials, and you also get a lot of protection when you're doing this in the end game. If I climb up and we take a good look, you'll see that it's really hard to actually see the opponent from this angle, and you get a lot of cover while also using a fraction of the materials that you normally would. And you're also able to use this strategy to gain a few levels up, and it's very unpredictable and hard for your opponent to keep up with what you're doing because of the fact that it's just something that not that many people do yet, and this is mainly a trick that only very skilled players do. I'm not exactly sure why, as it's not very hard to do, and it's very good for saving materials, but for some reason it is not that popular yet amongst the majority of players, and it's something that I definitely recommend you guys start doing. Now, before I get into the next trick, here's an extra bonus tip. If you flip your ramp just like this, you'll be able to phase through it and actually shoot through the ramp. This is a fairly old trick, and that's why I'm not making it one of the 5 main tips, but I do want you guys to know this just in case you already don't. And basically what you can do with this is throw your opponent off, because you'll be phasing through your ramp, and a lot of times they'll just expect you to be flipping your ramp for cover, so they won't be ready to shoot, or they won't even be aiming at you. And if you do this correctly, you'll be able to throw off a lot of opponents and get free shots. And basically the best way to do this effectively is to jump as soon as you make the edit while shooting, and that is just in case they figure out what you're doing and they're getting ready to shoot, and by then you'll usually have enough cover to get out of it, and you would have done it in a perfect amount of time. Now, for the next trick, what you're going to be doing is basically doing exactly what I'm doing here with the ramp, and that is placing it and editing it in this way, where you basically have this double-sided ramp. Once you've edited it just like this, go ahead and confirm, and then edit out the side of your box. Once you're here, go ahead and edit this little space right here, and you'll have an easy shot at your opponent. Now, if I switch perspectives and we take a look at the opponent's perspective, you'll see that it's actually super hard for them to shoot at you, and if they crawl into this corner, they won't even be able to shoot at you, and you'll have a perfect easy shot at them because you'll have that right side angle peek. And if they get a way to basically jump into that little hole on the left side, they'll be stuck inside of this ramp, and all you really have to do is you'll just have to edit out this wall on the side, and you'll basically get another easy shot. This is a super underrated trick, and one that you guys should definitely start doing against your opponents if you ramp over them. It's a great way to throw them off, and it's super underrated because no one expects anyone to do this to them. And for the final trick, guys, one of the most underrated things in Fortnite right now is using shotguns and weapons to shoot through builds instead of the pickaxe. A lot of times players will try to pickaxe walls that are weakened to try to take them, but in reality, shooting with your shotgun is actually much faster, much more effective, and much safer, because you're going to be able to shoot as soon as you take their wall or as soon as you shoot it out. The tactical shotgun can actually shoot out walls as soon as they are at 75 health, and with wood, that basically means that all you have to do is shoot it once. Also, as a bonus tip, if you're ever in a scenario where you're going to ramp over your opponent, or if they're in a box next to you, all you really have to do is use walls and floors instead of ramping over them, and what that'll do is that'll really throw them off, as they'll expect you to place a ramp, so they'll be focusing on getting that ramp or that pyramid, and as soon as you place walls or floors above and under them, you'll take control over their box, because most of the time they won't be expecting you to do that. And as a final tip to end this video, if you're ever in a situation where your opponent has the wall and you feel like they're about to open it, just take out your builds, look right at them, wait for them to open open the edit up, and then all you have to do is place a ramp right in front of them. What that will do is it'll cover them and not allow them to shoot you, while also giving you control of the inside of their box, and it will block off their ability to edit that wall, as you can easily take it and edit right. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watch until the end, comment Bay, and I'll see you guys in the next one.